Good morning, everyone. We are meeting after a long time. I hope you are all safe and at home. Today, the lecture is about PBL, that is problem based learning. I guess you are dealing with this particular topic for the first time. So, let me clarify what PBL is. PBL means problem based learning. So, like in contrary to your traditional classes where you are getting the knowledge directly or passively, here you are supposed to do it actively. That means it's a kind of a self-directed learning. So here you will be given a scenario which you as a group will interpret and will find out a solution. The time generally given for this session or this particular activity is 3 weeks. So I'll just read out the objectives which are expected from PBL. Number 1, to acquire, understand, integrate and apply information in context to healthcare problems. So you can see the objectives. Number 1, to acquire, understand, integrate and apply information in context to healthcare problems and healthcare delivery systems in various communities, healthcare settings and hospitals. Number 2, to learn means and art of communication and develop skills for communication with patients and community. Number 3, to correlate healthcare disease, socioeconomic, demographic, cultural and environmental factors. Number 4, to acquire, understand, integrate and apply information in context to nutritional problems. Number 5, to understand and apply principles of prevention, promotion and maintenance of health. And number 6, to search and summarize scientific information. So this is the objectives. That means whenever you face a particular situation, you will have to apply your knowledge so that you can solve the problems in context with the community and the healthcare settings. How this PBL works? Now this is the cycle that represents the process of problem solving in tutorials in PBL, that is problem based learning. So the first step is you have to see a scenario. That means after giving a scenario, you will have to first interpret it as a group. Generally the group is of around 10 to 15 students and they themselves will analyze the scenario. They will interpret what are the problems that are there in the scenario and they will have to take down what are the problems that are faced and what particular knowledge they are having in relation to that particular scenario. Again, related to what problems they don't know about something, they will have to approach different sources like internet or library or other resource materials and they will have to find out the solutions that can be applied to that particular scenario. So the cycle is, number 1, the first step is so this is the first step, the scenario. How do the group interpret the scenario? That means after giving that particular scenario, what is your interpretation of the group as a whole? Clarify the terms and concepts which are not readily comprehensible. That means based on your present knowledge, you might understand something and you won't understand something. So like you will have to clarify those terms which are you are not comprehending. So you will have to find out the information regarding that. So you will have to take down that one. Number 2 is brainstorming. So once the group reads the whole scenario, there will be brainstorming. Brainstorming is all the members of the group, they will apply, they will give their opinions in relation to the particular scenario. So that is what is called as free associations concerning the scenario. So everyone from the group will contribute to whatever his concepts are about that particular scenario or what he feels that problems are there. That will be freely associated between the group and that will be like used for the next step. That is, third step is systematize the outcome of the brainstorming. Systematize the outcome of the brainstorm into problem areas. So that means you have to chalk out what are the problems faced in the scenario. Reflect upon and appraise the knowledge of the group in relation to the problem area. That means the group as a whole unit, they will understand what they know and what they don't know about that particular scenario. Third one, after that third is completed, you will have to go to the fourth step. That means define one or more problems or issues. That means once you read the scenario completely, you will have to analyze the scenario in relation to the different aspects that are provided in that particular scenario. So you know something and you don't know something. You will have to take down those problems or issues. Next is formulate the needs in relation to the problem or issue chosen to study. So you will have to find out what you need to know about that particular problem. So that means what are the problems and where you have to go for that particular thing. You have to go to the library or internet or wherever the resource material is available. You have to reach that particular, and then you have to come with the solution the next time. So the time duration, as I already said, is given 3 weeks. That means for one scenario, routinely what we do is we give 3 weeks. In one session they will read the scenario, they will find out the problems, and then in the next session they will find out again the whatever solutions they have brought, and in the third week they will finally submit their solution as to what they have perceived the scenario to be and what can be done in relation to that particular scenario. So this is the process of problem based learning. So the sixth step, you can see the sixth step is collect the knowledge in relation to the learning needs. That means what we have discussed in the earlier step, the same thing, you will have to collect the knowledge in relation to the learning needs. That means what needs to be known, you will have to, as I already said, go to the resource material and collect it. Seventh step, consider and elucidate the problem or issue. Use the newly acquired information. That means once you reach the particular resource material, you will get some idea about that particular topic. The scenario I will be showing you shortly. So once you know what is the problem areas and you gain some idea about that from the resource material, then use this newly acquired information and knowledge to consider and elucidate the problem according to applicable theories or facts. So this is at general level. So you will be applying the newly acquired knowledge. So first step was to, you get the scenario, you interpret it as a group, then you go for the brainstorming, then you know what are the problem areas, and then you will go to the resource material and then apply the knowledge that you gain from this resource material, first at the general level and next at the specific level. So apply the consideration and elucidation to the situation presented in the scenario. So this is specific level. So in all there are 8 steps. I'll just quickly revise the whole cycle once again. If you want, you can take down the screenshot, you can take the screenshot of the mobile if you have seen all the whole screen, or you can take it down. So the first step was scenario, your interpretation of the group as a whole. Number one, first step is scenario. So you will be presented with the scenario and you will have to interpret it. Number two is brainstorming, that is freely generating ideas about that particular. So everyone from the group is free to express himself or herself, and in the PBL session the role of the person who is conducting, that is called as tutor, the role is only to see that the group is functioning properly. So there we are not supposed to give you the solutions. As I already said, in contrast to the traditional classes where you are given the knowledge passively, you are a passive listener or you are receiving the knowledge ready-made. Here that is not the role. Like we are as a tutor over there, like in that the particular person who is conducting the PBL session is said to be a tutor over there. So the role of the tutor is to see that everyone from the class is doing their role properly. Not one person is speaking completely, like dominating the whole group and like the other one is keeping mum. That is not done. So our role is to guide you so that you function as a group properly. The whole activity is to be done by the complete group of 10 to 15 students only, and final solution is also submitted by this group only, as a group, not as an individual candidate. Next step is brainstorming, as you already know. The brainstorming outcome will come and then you have to find out the problem areas, what are the problem areas that you don't know about, and then the things that you know about that particular solution, like for that particular scenario. Next step, define one or more problem areas. So first step was scenario, second was brainstorming, then systematize the outcome, and then lastly you will have to find out the problem issues. Once you find out the problem issues, you will have to know what you need to know about that particular scenario and collect the knowledge from wherever the resources are available and apply that particular newly acquired knowledge to the given scenario. Seventh step, consider and elucidate the problem or issue. That means Once you gain the new information, you will have to apply that particular information to solve the scenario problems. And this is initially at the general level, and then next you will have to apply it at specific level. Once I show you the scenario, you will come to know what exactly these steps are to be applied. And once this is done, the problem solving goes on. So whatever problems are further faced, they are being solved. So this is like after the 8th step, you can see there is problem solving goes on. I hope you are clear with all the objectives and the cycle or the process of problem based learning. Now I will show you the scenario. I will show you the scenario. You will have to read it and display it for some time. Maybe one slide will be displayed of 5 to 7 minutes, or then you either read it, take the screenshot, or you take down the points that you face, because you will later on submit the solutions about that particular scenario. Though it is routinely done in a group of 10 to 15 students, here because of the given situation you will have to do it individually, and then you will submit the solutions. We will see how it is to be submitted. So I display the scenario. So this is the scenario for problem based learning for first MBBS. You can read it. The theme of this particular scenario is society and health. What are the keywords? Society, socio-economic status, social anatomy, social physiology, social pathology, social therapy, social behavior, migration, livelihood. So these are the key points that will be there in the particular scenario. Now I display the scenario for 5 minutes. You read this please. So you can see this is about a population that is migrating to Ahmednagar district for their livelihood, and all the concerned problems of the scenario you will have to note while you are reading it. There are 2 pages for this scenario. There is part A and part B. After 5 minutes I will be displaying the part B. So as per what I have said already, in this PBL the scenario is to be interpreted by you people, not by me, because I will be displaying it. I won't give you the points that are there in the scenario that are faced as problems. That is your activity as a group. I am displaying the same scenario again. For those who could not read it earlier, we can see it. So here comes the role of that cycle, where you'll have to read the scenario in context with those 8 steps. You'll have to first read the scenario, interpret it. You'll have to think about different ideas what are there in the problem areas and what solutions can be probably applied to that particular scenario. I hope you are done with the first part. I'll move to the second, or this part B of the scenario. So here the theme is society and health, keywords health, determinants of health, dimensions of health, measurement of health, contributing factors, predisposing factors. So again, read the given scenario part B and interpret it in context of the 8 steps of the PBL cycle. So at the end of scenario 1, the student should be able to understand the following. Number 1 is definition of health, society and other terminology used in the scenario. That this is what is expected at the end of the scenario 1, what you should know. Number 2, should be able to understand functions of the society, social control, social evils, culture, social classification, economic classification and their effect on health and diseases. Should know various contributing and predisposing factors related to health in terms of environment and society. So this is what is expected at the end of scenario 1. And as already said, this is all to be done as an active learning, self-directed learning. So as a group you will have to do it. In the given scenario you will have to do it individually. I will display all the 4 slides once because time still permits us to do that. So these were the objectives. Each slide again will be displayed for 2 to 3 minutes. Read it again. So these are the objectives. This is the cycle or this problem based solving process in tutorials, what actually happens over there. So there are number 1 step is scenario. This is the first step. When you are given the scenario, you start working on this particular scenario from this step. Interpret the group, like interpretation of the group about the scenario. Clarification of the terms which are not readily comprehensible. Once you are done with this, you will have to go to the next step, that is brainstorming. Brainstorming is free associations of the ideas. Every person might be knowing something and every other person might be knowing something else about that particular situation, and so that whole ideas together, once you all the group of 10 to 15 students, once they interpret the scenario, there will be brainstorming. So all will contribute to their ideas and there will be a summarily knowledge of that particular group and some inadequacies. So you have to work out on those inadequacies about what particular scenario problem we are facing. Third one is systematize the outcome of brainstorming into problem area. That means organize these particular problems that are you face as a brainstorming into problem areas. So like you have to find out which particular areas are to be focused as regards to the solution finding process. You already gone through the whole cycle, you just go through it once. Fourth step, define one or more problems or issues. Fifth, Formulate the learning needs in relation to the problem or issue chosen to study. Collect the knowledge in relation to the process or these learning needs. Seventh, consider and elucidate the problem or issues and application of this knowledge at general level. Initially at general level, then at specific level. So these are the 8 steps of problem based learning, and this way the process goes on. The problem solving goes on. I hope all of you have read this scenario, or if required you have taken the screenshots. Interpret, and we'll see how it is to be submitted. The solutions maybe in 1 or 2 weeks or whatever instructions are there. Accordingly you will have to submit the solutions. Because it is not like a routine lecture, so I cannot explain each and every term, because this is your activity. So I can just display the scenario without explaining it much, because then that won't be a PBL, that will become a lecture. So you'll have to read on your own. This is, as I already said, a self-directed learning. So display it for last 2 minutes each. The slides will be displayed and the session will be over. You will, in meantime, till the next instructions come, you will interpret the scenario, you will find out the problems on your own, and even you will find out the solutions on your own.
Pawan betul.
I hope you have understood all the 4 slides. I think you have understood all the 4 slides, and accordingly your concept about PBL must be clear by now. So first step was to know what are the objectives of PBL, problem based learning, which is a self-directed learning. Second slide that was displayed was about the cycle or the process of PBL tutorials. Third one was the part 1 or part A of the scenario 1, and second one was the part B of scenario 1. So after interpreting the whole scenario and now having your concept clarified about PBL, you can apply the knowledge that you gain from different sources to the solving of the problems that you perceived in the scenario, and how it is to be submitted, that will be communicated to you later. So wish you all the best.